Yo, 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 what's up, my dudes? And welcome to the next episode of Wargame Does Not Tell You. Basically, all about sort of quote unquote advanced controls, basically key combinations and such that aren't necessarily obvious. And also, I wouldn't call it exploit, bug, something, I don't know, it's probably not intended, but it's been with Wargame for a long, long time. So I don't see why one should not use this, and I got asked quite a lot of times. I never did a video about it, now I'll put it in. And it's basically about identifying units that you haven't identified yet, like this chopper in the back here of Faust. So, how to do this? Obviously, it also works in live game, but I'm just doing it in replay because that's faster for me. So what you do, you click on a unit or you only hover over its name, doesn't matter, and open the unit information panel you see at the bottom. This thing here where mouse is when this thing. I set it on hotkey because that makes it a lot easier. And it's also, I would also anyway suggest doing this because then you can very quickly look at the stats of a unit that you may or probably not know off the top of your head. So what you do, you go on any already identified unit that you can open the unit information panel, pick, whatever. And then while this is open, this is very important. It has to be open. And then you click, or if you did not click on a friendly unit, then you just hover over the label of the unit you want to identify. As you can see here, I can identify it as a cannon, even though the button for the unit information card at the bottom is grayed out. So yeah, that's basically how you um, identify units. Normally I would click on the Hachinana so I don't have to keep my mouse on it, but you can't do this in replay. So yeah, that's very easy and very, very useful. Next up, so-called advanced controls. Well, I call it that way. So let's first start with the easiest thing, and you most likely know this, but I'm just gonna mention it for the sake of mentioning it. If you choose a group of units or just a single unit, it doesn't matter. Any amount of unit, press Control and any number, then you assign this group of units or this unit to this number. So I selected all them, press Control and 3, and when each time I press 3 now, these units get selected. And for your information, if you click on a number to which no unit is selected, you will deselect this unit. And yeah, and if I press 3 two times in a quick succession, I get zoomed into them. But that's like very simple, I'm pretty sure you all know this. Next up, how to select or deselect units. So basically, if you have like these units selected and you want to deselect some of them, what you can do is just press Shift and click on the unit you want to deselect, like this Fuchs here or this Mother 2 here, or I can also deselect them down here. Deselect the Mother 2, the Fuchs, the other two M113s. Just hold Shift while you do this. And you can just add new units this way as well. Each non-selected unit will get selected and each selected unit will get deselected. Easy as that. You can also double click on that and then select all Mother 2s. Or you can also hold Control at the same time and then deselect all Kylers, for example, or add all Kylers, whatever you prefer. Like I just mentioned, if you press Control at the same time and then click on a unit, you select all of these units. It's basically just like double click. Next up, something I personally don't use. When you have a group of units selected, you can press Tab, and maybe you see it at the bottom. Now the Kylers have a border around them. If I press Tab again, the Mother 2s. If I press Tab again, the M113s. And while there's a border around them, only those units will move. Now the Fuchs, and now every unit is selected again because there's no border around any of them. I personally never used it, simply because it's way too easy to overlook whether there's a border around them. So if I get used to doing this, I might miss macro a lot. That's why I personally just deselect the units I don't want to move or only select these units. But in theory, it can make your life easier if you want, but I personally don't like to do that. Next up, should also pretty obvious, is you can shift Q commands. That means while holding shift, every command that you give while holding shift will be added to the command list. Let's call it that way. Let's say I just right click here. And when I now, I mean, you can do that before already, but if I now hold shift and add new commands like move here, 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 there, and then attack move here, these mark, let's call them waypoints basically. So now the M113 will move that way which I told it basically, and the last way is basically the attack move. So for example, you can tell it to fast move here and then press shift and unload, and it will fast move to that point and then unload. This is I most of it I'm pretty much always do this with transports at the start, not because I want them to do it alone, but rather as assurance. Like if I forget to unload the unit, for example. However, keep in mind that the unit will move to exactly that point and then unload. Like it doesn't matter whether you unload your M113 at this point or at this point for the unit to get into the building, which is why sometimes it takes quite a long time until it unloads because it needs to get to that exact position. But it's useful for positions where you generally don't expect any enemies that quickly. So, or if you want to unload your CV and not forget about it, all that kind of stuff. You can also, let me just use some supply. Same you can do with you can do with supply. Or any unit that needs to get, oh my god, I was directly at the fob. Nice job. Okay, you can see those Mankaris have supply used and are not full anymore. What you can now do is shift Q oh no, forget what I said. What you can now do is fast move to the fob and then shift fast move here. So what I will do now is fast move to the fob. Dum dum dum. Resupply, and now fast move there. You can not only do that with supply units, but with any kind of unit. Right click on the fob and then right click there again. Now they will get refueled and refilled, and then I will move back here. You can do this with pretty much any command except one. And that command is stop. If I shift Q this, and while still holding shift I press stop, then it stops everything. And you also can't do that with the weapons here or the weapons turned off. But other than that, with pretty much any important command. Move here and then retreat here, for example. Reverse there. Now you can see it drives forward to this point, and now it reverses back. So yeah, pretty much every command. Same goes with planes, but the problem is since planes can't be stationary at one position, it can be it doesn't always work properly like you want it to do so. It it is it works pretty much everywhere every time if the waypoints are far enough away. But if they are like very close, let's say I tell it to move here and then fire position here, then it will first move to this point, but it can't turn quickly enough and go down to fire position here, which is why it has to turn first again. So that's why it's with planes it's generally not that viable to do that. However, if you want to, let's say, bomb the base, you can just fly around here, then shift here, and then fire position here. And that should basically work. Hopefully. Let's see. Yep, now it turns, and yep. But yeah, most of the time they are mostly useful as an assurance. Like if you forget to unload something just in case for that kind of stuff, you know? Yeah, I hope you learned something. I hope you enjoyed the video. I thank you for watching and see you next time.